The paint is all, like I say, one thing about material, it's going to be based on what you want, what you can afford, and what you want to apply to this property. When I throw out a number, it's bare minimum. Of course, you want more, you're going to pay more. You're going to pay too much. You're going to pay $250 for every 5 years.
Like the kick in the snare, while on the surface it's all turned into a circus. That's why you're nervous and you gotta.
Where we're at right now is on the phase 6, which starts with the exterior. How many of you have ever built before? Renovated, fix and flip, or live in a house? All right, so you're gonna understand everything I'm talking about for those that live in houses. Exterior phase, of course, includes everything that I'm saying as far as the exterior is concerned, whether it's siding or brick, stucco, the paint, driveways, decks, all of the good stuff. And the exterior is very important because it's oftentimes one of the first things the buyer sees when they pull up to your property. So think of curb appeal and think of everything that we're going to be going over. But as far as the exteriors are concerned, like I said, it's one of the first things a buyer sees or a potential renter or some future investor may see when they pull up to the property. Here in Georgia and Great Atlanta area, we use a lot of not stucco, but siding and brick, different styles of siding, whether it's the hardy board, the wood siding, and as well as the different colors of brick. So we're going to see those finishes tomorrow, actually siding and brick finishes at these properties that we're going to go by. Now we're going to jump straight to the interior. We all know what gutters are, right? Yeah. Man, I don't got to really dig into that.
What's up?
Right, what's a gutter? Any questions about decks? And these are just a couple examples of decks. Which one do you guys think costs the most, left or right?
Right. Right.
This one?
Yeah. Right.
Y'all both right. I mean, it just depends on who do it. That's why I want you to stop thinking that it's a set thing to everything, right? Because a person that charged me for my deck on the left may charge me the same price for my deck on the right. Not because this one is larger or anything like that, it's because of what goes into building it. This one here has a pier system. This one is floating. I'm saving money because this one is floating, but I'm using more wood on the top. So I'm not using the rails, etc. So it just varies. So you're also going to want to understand what it typically costs for a certain style of deck, a certain style of porch, a certain style, whatever. And building in your area is the only way you're going to understand what these things cost. So don't ever think you're wrong, because somebody will charge you what you recommend, somebody will charge you less, somebody will charge you more. It's just you have to do your own due diligence in the process of getting these quotes. A lot of our students find better prices than us sometimes, because they're calling people that we haven't called in a long time, because we're accustomed to using the people that we use to build. Exterior paint for all my people that live in apartments and houses, it's simple. Price per square foot, $1.50 and $2 a square foot to paint the exterior. The paint is all, like I say, one thing about material, it's going to be based on what you want, what you can afford, and what you want to apply to this property. When I throw out a number, it's bare minimum. Of course, you want more, you're going to pay more. You're going to pay $200, you're going to pay $250 for every 5 yards. All right, now interior, it includes of course the flooring, windows, trim, cabinets, vanities, countertops, appliances, and everything that goes on to the interior of the house. We all know what insulation is, correct, in different styles. Higher end homes often foam insulation. One, it's a more effective insulator. Two, it soundproofs. And three, you can put it in areas that you can't put the regular insulation. Say this vaulted ceiling behind me. If he didn't want to put those flat panel insulation pieces in there, he could have sprayed that ceiling, because it's not the typical ceiling where you have a roof that you can put the insulation on top of the actual sheetrock. There's no space for that, so they're going to use that. And insulation is typically installed on exterior walls only, and of course basement floor ceilings, a basement ceiling, the first floor, and over the garage, of course. And insulation is only done after you pass your framing inspection. If you go ahead and try to insulate these walls before you do your framing inspection, you won't pass. And framing inspection is done after you've done your mechanicals. Can anyone tell me why they do framing inspection after that?
After the film?
Yeah.
Right, because sometimes the mechanicals got cut to the frame.
Exactly. You can't call for a framing inspection after you've done your framing. You can only call it in after your dry-in process where you framed up all the walls, dried it in, put the windows up, because your mechanical guys are going to come in and cut those 2x4s to pieces when they start running their mechanicals, as far as electrical, plumbing, HVAC, etc. All right. So don't go ahead and try to jump ahead and call in for a framing inspection. You're going to waste some money and some time, because like I said, you have to do it after the mechanicals are done. Drywall, one of my favorite parts. You guys want to feel smart in about 2 minutes? Raise your hand if you want to feel smart. This is how we make you feel smarter, everybody. To get the rough estimate for how many boards of sheetrock you're going to need, you just divide the square footage by 10. 250 boards is the rough estimate of what you're going to need for a 2,500 square foot house.
That's including ceiling?
That's including ceiling. It's just the formula that we got from doing so many properties. So when we look at plans, we just divide our square foot by 10, because sometimes if we got 10, 12 foot ceilings, we're going to use 4 by 12 foot boards. The board count won't change, right? The price to hang may vary a little bit. The price to hang is between $20 and $25 a board. The price for materials is between $20 and $25 a board, right? I'm down to about a minute right now, so get ready, you're gonna feel smart in 1 minute. I was keeping track. So basically, it's $40 to $50 a board to hang and finish, material and labor. How much money would I spend for that same $2,500 square foot house? All right, both of y'all. If I got a 2,500 square foot house, how many boards of sheetrock will I need? All right, between $40 and $50 a board, how much would I be putting on my line item for this sheetrock?
6,000.
It's 10 boards off $40.
Nah, no, my whole budget, 10,000 to 12,500, because I'm multiplying 250 by $40 or $50, depending on what I get the home. So if someone tell you for this 2,500 square foot house, your material and labor cost is going to be about $19,000. You might be like, nah, let me call around some more, because you already have an idea that it's going to be between 10 and 12,500. So this is how we help our students expedite this process, because we give them the confidence to not get screwed over. And of course, you're not going to pay for any of these trades until it's done and passed inspection. That's the great thing about new construction. What I was saying is a totally different pool of subcontractors when you're building compared to renovating. It's going to be an entire sheetrock company that comes and does this house. It's not going to be like that with a renovation, because you may just be bumping out one room or renovating one room. So it's going to be a handyman that comes and put these 4 or 5 boards up, and their price is not going to be that $40 or $50 a board. It's cheaper and easier to build new construction than some renovation jobs. Just remember that. Y'all in the right place. All right, so this is what it looks like when it's hung, and this is what it looks like when it's hung and finished, meaning it's muddy and it's been sanded and getting ready to be primed and painted. So that's what I mean when I say hung and finished. This is just hung, this is finished. Doors and trim. When you guys see these properties tomorrow, you're going to see that we like to typically build 10 or 12 foot ceilings downstairs and 10 foot upstairs. So we're not going to put the typical 80-inch doors in. We're going to use 8-foot doors downstairs, like this example behind me. Not only does it look better, it's a more grander feel when you're pushing an 8-foot door rather than an 80-inch door with those high ceilings. You see how small this door look right there? That's how we look in a house with 12-foot ceilings. Extremely small, but it wouldn't look that way. So take all that into consideration when you're ordering these doors, when you're framing out this house, when you're talking to your framer, when you're talking to your architect. And listen, if I'm doing 10 or 12 foot doors downstairs, 10 or 12 foot walls, ceilings downstairs, I definitely need 8 foot doors downstairs. And the prices will vary. We'll go over some prices tomorrow. This is just a typical 1 panel door. We like to use those a lot because of the clean look. It looks like a huge shaker door, but it's just a single panel door. And this is just some examples of some trim. In any of our houses, you would never see this because this is dated. We try to keep all our stuff a little more modern. Now, when it comes to flooring, we all know there are several types of flooring. You have carpet, you have hardwoods, you have LVP, you have laminate. You can get creative with the style of flooring that you're putting in the house, but for the higher price point, you definitely don't want to do any carpet, and you definitely don't want to do any cheap flooring, like really cheap, like 97 cents a square foot cheap. Don't do that. Before I jump to tile, how is carpet sold? By the yard. Right. But when you go to these carpet stores and Home Depot, etc., they sell by the foot. So a square yard is 3 by 3. So a square foot is 9 square feet in 1 square yard of carpet. So when you're at Home Depot looking at something for $1 a square foot, it's actually $9 a yard. But understanding how to measure and everything like that and how to calculate these numbers, which is very important. It's the most important thing about building is understanding your numbers. And that's what we're here for. There's multiple styles of tile, ceramic, porcelain, they even have vinyl now. They have exterior tile. We used some exterior tile before on the outside of a house we did in East Atlanta. And that house got us like $300,000 over the closest comp because of the types of finishes that we put in on this house. You just got to get creative. A lot of times when we do our kitchen cabinets, we have our kitchen cabinet company also do our bathroom vanities. And it's cool to use different color cabinets as long as they're the same style. Don't go put no white shaker cabinets up here and then some flat face European style cabinets on the base. It won't work out well for you, trust me. It's gonna look like you tried to save some money. And we don't use, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with what a white shaker cabinet is. Yeah. We don't use those anymore intentionally because everyone uses them now. And we want to be able to give our appraiser a list of our cabinets and what we paid for them to get a higher appraised value. Putting that white shake in there, you're going to judge it just like DR or any other big box builder. We teach you guys how to create custom homes and get custom money for these homes. We don't teach you how to do what everyone else has been doing. This is a floating vanity to the left. That's a standard vanity to the right. And these are just colors of types of cabinets. This second one is an actual shaker style cabinet. We're not saying don't use any shakers, just don't use any white shakers. Get you some blues or greens or something creative because it's going to give it that little extra. We all watch TV, and I'm gonna tell you how to get some great inspiration for those that travel here. For those that travel abroad or travel anywhere, take a lot of pictures of these resorts you're staying at. Take a lot of pictures and videos of these restaurants that you're eating at. Because these people spend a lot of money on interior design. And you can get that same inspiration for a fraction of the cost. Whatever it costs you to stay that night. So you can get this inspiration. Just be thoughtful when you're going to these places. Like, I really like that. Take a picture of it. Because you can go back home to Wayfair, Home Depot, Amazon, and find those fixtures. For those that want to build higher-end higher-end homes, you're going to have to spend some money on some real countertops. You can't put the same countertop that you put in a starter home, a $300,000 home or less, in a $700-800 million home. Because those buyers have a different eye. They're going to call this out. Like, I seen that, I'm straight on that. And they're going to want this quartz and stuff that they've seen pushed out to you on HGTV and other places. So this is just a few different styles of countertops, which comes in quartz, granite, marble, etc. They even have some new style of cabinet that has, it's kind of semi-transparent, that you can illuminate behind it. Me, I'm staying away from that right now because I know lights go out often. So you have a beautiful lit up kitchen, but if that light bulb right there go out, then you're gonna be pretty mad at yourself. Our students who built their first house, the first boot camp we had a couple years ago, the students that built that first house, they actually built something around 3,200 square foot. And the highest comp in that neighborhood was around 4,500 square foot. And they got more money than the house that was 45. Right. We did a house in East Atlanta around 3,000 square foot. We got 240,000 more than the closest comp next door. Yeah. Yeah. We got 3 houses on Coventry and Druid Hills. Every one of them over $1 million. Easily 400 more than any other comp in the neighborhood. Because of the style of home that we're creating and that we push out there. It's something totally unique because you got to think about it, right? Every restaurant that we go to nowadays, even the fast food restaurants, are more modern than ever, right? Even the games that the kids play on, the Fortnites and all this, Roblox and all that, they're building modern houses. So why would you continue to build something so dated, right? When the buyer's getting younger. A lot of this, I'm speaking specifically for Atlanta. People moving to Atlanta from LA, New York, Miami, etc. We have to create that type of inventory that they're used to. Even McDonald's don't look like McDonald's. Even Chick-fil-A is more modern. You know, even grocery stores are getting more modern. So why continue to build something so dated? Just think about it. And you're going to be able to demand more because the people that go buy these $700,000, $800,000 houses, they travel. So are they moving out of a condo? So to get them out of the condo, you need to apply some type of condo amenities in these properties. Put these saunas in here. Put these, wet rooms and these showers with tubs and stuff. So you just got to get creative when you're designing and have an amazing interior design. Speaking on that, I'm going to wrap it up as far as my phases are concerned. But I want you guys to understand, if you're a man, get a woman involved. We can't design, bro. Like, let's just be honest. We don't think enough. We were living in an apartment the rest of our lives when we didn't have kids. I'm just being honest. A woman thinks about everything. They have a different eye, right? And I'm not knocking gay men, but y'all can never do what women do when it comes to design. I'm not saying they're not equal. I'm not saying they're not equal, bro, but women probably design everything we see right now. Just got to think about what you're building. You're building for a woman to come because a man will finance a house. A woman will buy it. Right. You give her the budget. I'm going to buy it, but you're going to pay for it. So you better make it woman friendly. And believe it or not, this is where we get a lot of fixtures from. Yes. We love Amazon. We put Amazon fixtures in $1 million houses.
They get ready to have their, what do you call it,
Prime Day on the 16th of September. But you guys know what utilities are. Utilities are simply the connections of all your mechanicals. So this is when they actually time into the actual city or service provider for those utilities. All right, and the last part of building a house, almost last, is the landscape. And this is one of the most important things, like I said, as far as the exterior. This is a big part of the exterior. So when you budget these scope of work and these line item budgets, don't skimp on that landscaping budget. Why would you build this beautiful house and then have grass seed in the front yard? You gotta put some money for some real grass. Oh, exactly. All right, so that's that. This is the fun part. No, this is the second, closer to the fun part. The fun part is at the closing table. I want y'all to go make some money, with or without us.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let Marissa come up, and then Gina close it out with you guys. Any more questions? We'll answer them after here. Thank you.